I mean, Luke just said the most profound thing ever, so I'm not sure if we got that on audio. But yeah, guys, we're pumped to have everybody here. all, all 25,000 listeners. But yeah, it's like I said, exciting time to be a Premier League fan. Luke, what? I know we have a lot of stuff we want to talk about in this kind of live stream podcast that we're going to put on all our typical channels because we're doing stuff a little differently now. But what, just kind of as of right now, what are your thoughts heading into the Premier League season, just in a very general capacity?
I think very generally, I see Man City as a team that's retooled. They're really exciting. Obviously, Liverpool is going to be a team that is really pushing and making sure that they're retooling their team as well. I also think that this transfer window has been one of the most exciting windows we've ever had. You know, where it's really just been. How about now? Does that? Can you hear me now? Yep, we're just gonna split mics.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Yep. All right. We're gonna go down to one mic.
All right, yeah, Luke, go ahead and tell everybody what you were saying about.
Yep. So what I was thinking, okay, cool. We'll just slide back and forth. Yeah. So my main thing here, I think, at this point is I really, I think Liverpool is going to be a team that Liverpool's a team that has really made a push to invest in their squad, and that's going to be something that we're going to see causing really, really, I think, send some shockwaves around the Premier League because, as we've seen, teams are continually investing over the summer, where they're trying to make sure that they're keeping up with what Liverpool's doing, and you can see that with Arsenal. You can see that with City. City invested early in the window, so there's not a lot more that they've done as of late. But I really think that over time we're going to see that um, City's probably going to invest even more in their squad, which is no surprise with the money they have. So, um, another team that's really interesting that I'm going to hand off to you to talk about, Paul, is Arsenal. Arsenal have added a lot to their team. They just added one of the best strikers, most prolific goal scorers of last year. His name is Victor Gyökeres. If you haven't heard, he is a very talented forward, a little bit older, but Arsenal are paying around 75 million pounds to get him into their team, and he could really kind of be that game changer for them. So, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Paul, and you kind of talk about Arsenal for a little bit, what you see coming up, and and once you get done with that, tell everyone what you think his price will be in FPL.
Yeah, so honestly, Luke, I am pretty surprised that we don't already have a price point. Usually, the day after signings, we've already kind of had an understanding of exactly where they're going to fall in FPL. But I would guess 10.0 to me. I think 10.0 maybe somewhere in maybe 9.5, just because I mean there is the slight chance that him and Havertz could be splitting time. We don't know exactly what the team setup's going to be like. I mean, it's obvious Arsenal needs somebody in that 9 position that's going to be clinical and like produce probably like 20, 25 goals this season. That person could be Kai Havertz too, though. I mean, everybody, if you listen to the podcast, you know I'm a huge Kai Havertz fan. Like, I think he does so many great things for Arsenal. I mean, I don't know how many people were up this morning, or if you were in England or anywhere else, just depending on your time zones. I don't know how many people watched Arsenal play today in their preseason training friendly against Newcastle, but Kai Havertz once again looked great. He basically had 2 assists, really linked a lot of stuff up for Arsenal. But the new signings, Madueke is an FPL asset. I would give that time. Like we're gonna wait on that one. To me, it's not anywhere I'd invest right now early in the season. But then from there, I mean, Gyökeres could be great. It just depends on how he settles in. We kind of saw some signings last year. Solanke had a really slow start to the season. So, I mean, in my mindset, investing in Arsenal, I would go with the assets, you know. So, Gabriel, Saka, Max Dowman. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, that's some unhinged behavior there, Paul. Max Dowman's going to be an incredible player. He's 15 years old though, so it's going to take some time for him to really be starting. I mean, maybe he starts at some point in the season. I wouldn't be surprised. He's very talented, so you never know. But for me, I think there's an interesting FPL debate here, right? Whenever we're looking at Arsenal for one, they have a really tough run of fixtures to start out the year. It's very tricky. I think they play Manchester United. I think they play Newcastle. They play Liverpool as well. That kind of that complicates things, right? Because those are tough fixtures. On top of that, I also think that it's going to be hard to figure out how to set up our teams early on because we're not sure is Gyökeres going to have an immediate reaction to being an Arsenal? Is he going to seamlessly fit in? If he seamlessly fits in, it makes sense to get him into your team for game week 1 once we see his price point. My guess is he's going to come in around 9.5 to 10.5, somewhere in that ballpark. And that's going to be tough to get into our teams, especially if you have Saka, you have Salah, you have Palmer, maybe you want Holland too. There's a lot of sacrifices we have to make this year, so it's something to keep in mind. But what do you think his final price will be, Paul?
I mean, I think 10. That would be my guess. But yeah, I mean, and that's something we'll kind of talk about a little bit further into this pod live stream. I'm gonna have to get my terminology on for this one, but we're gonna talk about strikers where their price points are kind of different opportunities that could possibly be coming in, like we discussed slightly earlier on this. But it's going to be really interesting this year because I feel like at points last year was like, yeah, there's like 3 forwards you can invest in that you can actually have in your team. That's completely different this year. I mean, there's a wealth of options from Isak if he goes to Liverpool, Isak if he stays at Newcastle. Wissa, I think, is a really good low budget option if he goes to Newcastle. And then it's also going to be a situation too where we have, I mean, Chelsea with their 2 forwards. One of those could eventually stand out. Holland's back, like Luke said. City's going to be back in a full flow. I think we're both expecting that this year. And then Arsenal with Gyökeres / Havertz. What other forwards am I missing here, Luke?
What I'm very excited about is Benjamin Sesko is someone who could very easily come into the Newcastle team. He could be someone that could be a very big difference maker for them. And I really believe that he's someone that could have a lasting impact in FPL, depending on his price point. You know, all this is assuming that Sesko does go to Liverpool. Sorry, not Sesko. Sorry, Isak goes to Liverpool, and then Newcastle would need to fill in a new striker, obviously. And like Paul was saying, Wissa has been rumored to be going to Newcastle, but I think Sesko is someone that would be very interesting for FPL if he goes there because I think he'll be a little underpriced as well. And in that situation, if he's underpriced, he slides in and he gets 80%, 90% of the returns that Isak had, then he's one interesting. Yeah. So I really think that I like the potential of having him in the team. So Sesko is someone that I really would be interested with. So yeah, but outside of that, I really think that the price points have changed the way that we're setting up our teams for this season. The main thing here is that whenever we're looking at setting up our teams, it's very difficult to have all the premiums that we need in order to actually set up the team. So, for example, 2 years ago, it was so easy to have a draft of, well, Cole Palmer was half the price he is right now. It was so easy if you had Palmer, Holland, Salah, Saka, you know, all those great players, we could squeeze them into our teams with no problem. Now we're in a situation where it's really difficult in order to be able to get all those players in. So, for example, when you look at drafts online or if you're tinkering around with your own team, we see drafts where it's Holland as the premium, and then you have maybe Soccer or Palmer, and then you just don't have the funds to get them all on your team. So FPL Towers have done such an incredible job of making sure that we're challenged with picking our teams, but it's going to create a lot more diversity within the way that people are creating their teams too. So it's something really great to keep an eye on. Something that I have been tinkering around with is a draft that would include no Salah. It would have Holland, but then also that gives us the potential of potentially getting Cole Palmer in there. So in the current draft that I have, I'm currently working with Cole Palmer, Holland, and then on top of that, looking at having Verts instead of Salah. So in that draft, I'm taking a little bit of risk if I don't have Salah and I go for Verts. But I also think that it's going to become very popular for people to go with Isak, and for people to, if Isak makes the move to Liverpool, can potentially go with Isak and Verts and just all together stop using Salah. So it's something that I think is going to gain popularity. And at the end of this live stream, we're going to talk about where we think players price it, where we think their ownership is going to end up by the end of the season. So the thing about that is if we have that, it's going to be really tricky for us to make sure we're building the teams the right way we need to. And by right way, I think that means we're not always going to get the right pick whenever we pick players in our first game week 1 teams. But what we do need to do whenever we set up our teams is we need to make sure that we're setting them up with a mind to really making sure that we have adaptability in our teams. So you don't want to be trapped into a team whenever you're making it. And by that, what we mean by that is just making sure that you don't get players that you can't move out of if you need to. So, for example, Holland is a great player to have because once you move, if you decide you don't want Holland anymore, you can go to anyone else in the game price point. So you can easily, let's say, move down to Isak if he starts playing well. Let's say game week 4 or 5, starts scoring a load of goals while he's at Liverpool. And then, do you want us to just stop the live stream for a minute? Okay. So the way that you adapt and build your team is really important. Did you see is that mic working? Yeah. So it's just really, I think there's a lot of adaptability that we can have in our teams. So Paul, back to you. I kind of wanted to ask, so if you're looking at Liverpool, who do you think are the best assets to have? And at this point, I think we can go ahead and assume Isak is going to be playing for Liverpool this season. So tell me who you think are the must-have assets, and is Salah included in that?
I am anti-Salah this year. I think that it's going to be a Verts and Isak combo with maybe a Liverpool defender if you want to invest there. To me, I think it's worth it if we're just talking generalities in FPL right now to have one premium asset for a defender, and then there's a lot of great 4.5 options. And for me in my current drafts, I'm not looking at a Liverpool defender, which could be risky. It could be unpopular among the FPL community, but I do think that Verts is going to be a great way, and then Isak are going to be a great way to be attached to that Liverpool attack. I do think, though, there could be a problem. I think they're going to score a lot of goals, but I think they're going to come from a lot of different places consistently. I mean, if you saw Liverpool's friendly yesterday, Szoboszlai had a beautiful goal. He's going to turn up with some goals. You're going to see at a TK who is also going to show up in places. And I mean, they also have McAllister, who's going to, probably score a couple long range bangers. But Yeah, I would personally go Verts because I think he's going to be an absolute demon, and it's going to be scary hours for the Premier League, sadly. And then Isak with those two together, they're gonna have a great relationship. What do you agree, Luke? With that, Luke?
I do, and the interesting thing about this too is that currently Verts is at 36.1% ownership, and Isak's currently at 35.9% ownership. What that tells me, though, with them already being highly selected, is as soon as Isak makes that move over to Liverpool, his ownership is going to skyrocket. And I think Verts is too, because like I was talking about earlier, I think the popular choice is going to be going from the slaw drafts that people have been building up to this point since the game released over to Verts and Isak drafts, and that's gonna get really popular, and I don't like that because I want everyone going with Salah to start out the season because I don't wanna go Salah, right? But I guess we'll see some teams where people do squeeze in Verts, Salah, and Isak, get all 3 of them in at once, but that's gonna be really tricky too, in my opinion, because you have all 3 of them. It's a very expensive team, and you're investing that all into one team too. So, like Paul was saying, I think those results will be kind of spread across the team a little bit. But Isak is a great striker. He's going to score goals. There's no way around that. So, having him is a great place to go. And he'll be, even though he's 10.5, with him at Liverpool, we'll see. I feel like Salah will still be on pins. Maybe not. Maybe Isak takes over pins, but Slow, in my opinion, he's going to keep them. So that kind of drives the value of Isak down a little bit, but he's going to score a lot of goals for Liverpool this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. It's we're gonna have to see how that Liverpool attack develops. Like I really don't have any questions about how much they're gonna score. I have questions about where the goals exactly are gonna come from. And I mean, we could see Salah. I mean, we could see those numbers drop quite a bit from what we had last season, or we could see them go up. Who knows? Who really knows? So, we're gonna do that. Let's see. Let's take a quick little break, real quick, and because I need to run to the bathroom, and then we will get right back on. Okay. Thanks, guys.